Bottom of the third, Millsaps Majors on top here, 3-1 in Game 3, the rubber match in this SAA Conference Series between the Rhodes College Lynx and the Millsaps Majors. Top of the order, back to the plate, starting with Ben Burkhart. Bonicays goes back to work for the Majors. Burkhart, he's got another base hit. That one's up the middle. Some soft contact again, but it found a hole.
I got two words for you, Steven, and the words are Derek Jeter. That is the most inside-out Yankee Stadium kind of swing we've seen from Burkhart in this series, but as long as it works, it doesn't matter.
So Burkhart has reached base safely in his first two plate appearances. He was picked off of the second base bag the first time he got on base. Ben Daniel at the plate. That one gets past Mason Morgan behind the dish. It will allow Burkhart to swipe second without a throw.
Critical free base.
Yeah, a couple of fortunate passes so far for the Lynx.
They've taken advantage of Morgan both with the blocking and with the throwing so far.
1 ball, no strikes, and that's off the back, right between the fours of Ben Daniels' jersey, and he will walk to first.
Well, that's the kind of pitch you prefer to get hit with. It's just a breaking pitch that slipped from the hand of Bonicays, and he's in a little bit of trouble here. He's going to draw Jim Page out of the dugout for conference.
Yeah, second free pass allowed for Bonicays. He walked Trishelle earlier. Trishelle is the guy coming to the plate now.
Gorgeous day for baseball, though. I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're not properly attired, you're going to come out of this one looking like an old middle school jump rope. One link red, one link white. The next link red, the next link white.
The wind, if you look at the American flag, it looks pretty vicious out there, straight out towards Jackson Avenue in left field.
We had 15 miles an hour before the game. And they said one direction, and we've seen completely the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on that. But that is good news for a guy like Trishelle, who can certainly elevate the ball.
He would love to do so here with 2 runners on and nobody out. Bottom of the third. Trishelle represents the go-ahead run at the plate. Bonicays brings it home. Low and away, ball 1. I've learned to delay my call for Bonicays when he's got a runner at second on whether he's coming to the plate or not, because he had me fooled when he had Austin Smith picked off.
Had Austin Smith fooled too, I think.
I said the 1-1's coming to the plate. It was, in fact, not coming to the plate. So I'm going to hold my words for a second. That one's going to second base. Burkhart back safely. Not his best move there.
That inside turn from right-handers is tricky.
Guys have gotten so good with that. They learned how to not turn their hips until the very last minute, bring that foot back. And it can be hard to pick up when you're directly behind the pitcher. 1-0. Trishelle skies it to right. Bradley Pell settles under it. Burkhart back on the second base bag to tag. The throw is on target, but it's just late. Burkhart slides in safely. What a throw by Bradley Pell, but just a second late.
That's what you count on a right fielder for. Can't make a much better throw than that. Like you said, arrived on time, just a shade off the bag. But good tagging up by Ben Burkhart, who's certainly got the speed and the experience to do so.
So Trishelle does a good job moving the runner. The double play, of course, still alive here as Ben Daniel had to stay at the first base bag. Quinn Blackman comes to the plate. Ben Daniel is going for second. The pickoff was to third. The throw goes back to second. Not in time. And good time to steal a bag there for Ben Daniel.
Yeah, I'd almost call that a fielder's choice because if that ball doesn't go to third, Ben Daniel is, maybe halfway to second when the throw goes to second base. And that's a whole different decision for Stuart Boniquez, I guess.
So double play opportunity is erased now. Blackman tries to stay back on the breaking ball, fouls it straight back off the screen.
Yeah, you feel like if you're Quinn Blackman here, you got dealt pocket kings, and you just had an ace on the third card, trying to do something with it.
No balls, one strike. Blackman pops that one up. It may be playable for Case Page near the dugout. Oh, a collision over there. That's Mason Morgan and Case Page, the catcher and first baseman. Neither of them come away with a pop-up. But I think both majors seem to be all right. They pop back up and head back to their respective positions.
When it's not your ball field, that's a much tougher play because you don't know how much room is over there if you haven't measured it frequently. And it's pretty ample here at Stopper Field in Memphis. But for those two guys, honestly, I think maybe each one a little worried about where the dugout was. Each other was more in the other one's way than the dugout. But that wind, like you said, it's been doing things to fly balls.
So Quinn Blackman wipes the sweat off his brow and steps back into the box. Puts that one on the ground to the right side. That's going to get through the hole. Burkhart scores. Ben Daniel gets the stop sign, as we've already seen the strong arm from Bradley Pell. Cleanthes not going to test it there. But an RBI single for Quinn Blackman. Lynx clawing back here, 3-2 ball game.
That's a great piece of hitting by Blackman, going the other way with that one. And I think probably just as smart by Jeff Cleanthes with a hold-up sign for Ben Daniel, because you're right. Bradley Pell's no slouch with the hose out there and right.
Another part of that decision by Coach Cleanthes has to do with the guy at the plate now in Corbin Kinder. He's got a single today, had 4 hits in yesterday's ball game, including a walk-off. He's going to square to bunt there. There will be no throw on Quinn Blackman, who broke for second. The Lynx are being active today on the base pass, Tyler.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they didn't run this much yesterday on Mason Morgan, and there's one big reason why. They didn't get on base like this.
Right.
I mean, Tarantino was keeping pretty much everybody at bay through the first 5 innings.
Corbin Kinder takes a hack at a breaking ball there. No balls, 2 strikes. One of the unfortunate things about that previous play was that Kinder had to fake the bunt and pull it back, and it was an automatic strike. It was right down the middle, but Kinder not allowed to swing at it. So now he's down on the count 0-2. Boniquez brings it home. Kinder smokes it into left center field. That's going to drop. Daniel will score. Blackman is waved. No throw to the plate. Lynx have taken the lead. Corbin Kinder remains hot.
The words I was going to say before that pitch were, I do think Corbin Kinder is a good enough hitter that he can battle out of an 0-2 hole, and I think that's confidence from Jeff Cleanthes, putting the play on where he forces his hitter to bunt, putting him behind by a strike, seeing another one, and then from an 0-2 hole comes up with a beautiful stroke to left center.
And back-to-back at-bats for the Lynx that they've been down in the count 0-2, and they've been able to battle back and put the ball in play. And it gives them the lead. They're on top 4-3 as these two teams at the top of the conference in the SAA continue to exchange blows back and forth. Kinder at first now, and that one is skied into right center field, trailing away from the center fielder, and that's going to drop. Corbin Kinder is going to round second and head to third. Kurger likewise is going to slide into second, keeps the hand on the bag, and the Lynx are cruising right now.
Off the bat, it did look like that was well enough placed between right and center for it to fall in. It just narrowly snuck in there, but I got to give a lot of credit to Cooper Kurger. I don't know if he's ever seen Titanic, but, I mean, he slid so far past second base. He was hanging onto the base like it was Rose hanging onto the door in the Arctic Atlantic water. That was, I mean, a feat of strength to try and throw the brakes on when you're going that fast across the ground.
And by the way, so much credit to Cooper Kurger as well for even being at the second base bag. A lot of time when you have a guy pop on up into right center field, not sure if it's going to be caught or not, they're not off to the races out of the box, but Cooper Kurger was and took second base. And now once again, they've got an opportunity Malcolm Rolfing at the plate and 2 runners in scoring position, still 1 out.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, the oxygen's running pretty low right now on Stuart Bonicace because there is action in the Millsaps pen, as there ought to be at this point. They've got John Montour loosening, and he's not going to be the only option who's working out down there the right field line as well.
You look back at this inning so far, there's only 1 out, but the only out for the Lynx was a productive out. It was a fly ball to right field off the bat of Brandon Treshelle that allowed Ben Burkhart to advance to third. As now Rolfing fists one back to short. The throw's going to come to the plate, sliding head first. The tag applied, and he is out. Tag applied on the hip right there by Mason Morgan. That was a on-the-money throw by E.J. Ostley, the shortstop. And there's 2 away.
I wasn't 100% sure, but I think visually it did look like the tag got made in time. Although I think Kinder made the argument that it wasn't there when his hand was across the plate. But that's how it goes. Bang, bang play, heads up by Ostley.
Now Austin Smith, who's got an RBI single already in this ball game, gets a strike call that he's not fond of. No balls, 1 strike.
It does add a runner to the base paths for the Lynx, but again, it holds up the runner at second, Kruger, because the hit was to shortstop and slowly.
Bonicace has given up 3 here in the bottom of the third. That's up the middle. That might get through. Oh, it's going to get off the glove of Abadessa. He boots the ground ball up the middle, though I got to say there was no chance he was going to throw Austin Smith out at first. Wasn't sure if there was going to be a play at second with Rolfing running.
That was pretty much the only play available at that moment.
But it's a moot point at this stage because he was unable to field it cleanly. Austin Smith aboard again. We'll have to see what they rule that in the stat sheet here, an error or a hit. Would have been a tough play. It would be a tough error if they decide to give him one. So the bases are loaded. Miles Kruger at the plate. That one's low. 1 ball, no strikes. Kruger is one of 3 strikeout victims for the Lynx so far today. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Bonicace. Outside corner. Count evens 1-1. One from Bonicace. Kruger. A line drive to left center field. It's going to get down. This might clear the bases. Austin Smith comes flying around third base. He will score, no throw. A base clearing double for Miles Kruger. And boy, that has to feel good.
Miles Kruger taking on the Brandon Bounds role from yesterday. Bottom of the order coming up huge. An absolute rope to the gap in left field. You saw the glove go up for Bounds, just trying for the phantom catch to hold a couple of runners, but you're not going to hold Austin Smith no matter how good your fake is. And Kruger, a guy who we mentioned had 2 extra base hits in conference play, including yesterday, now has his 3rd and in a huge, huge way to chase Bonicace.
And you love to see that for the sophomore shortstop out of St. Louis, Missouri. 3 RBIs to his ledger today, giving his Lynx a 7-3 lead. And for a second, I thought Austin Smith was going to catch Malcolm Rolfing in the race to home plate.
Wouldn't that have been something? I guarantee you somebody clips that highlight had that happened. But I think Smith knows better. So we are going to see the new arm here for Millsaps. John Montour, who has been among the regulars this year for the Millsaps staff, will replace the departing Bonicace. Montour out of Madisonville, Louisiana, just a freshman. But again, we saw them use a freshman in Fred Fields yesterday who was terrific in relief. Montour in his last outing in the midweek against Huntington threw an inning, gave up 2 runs, 1 of them earned, and struck out 1. Did go 5 innings earlier this year against Center. That was his longest outing. And my guess is Jim Page is going to look for him to carry the water for a while here with the Lynx on top by 5. 4. I can't count. Don't do math in the air. I tell people that all the time. I told Steven.
Another do as I say, not as I do
That's
moment right
right.
there from the mentor.
So pretty big spot here. And I think, look, Montour was probably going to come in anyway based on this is turning the lineup over. And that I don't know that they were going to let Bonicays go through it for a third time. But still, I'll say this, I think. The adjustments for the Rhodes Lynx, you know, give a little tip of the cap maybe to Rob Schreier and the offensive crew in the dugout there, because first time through the order, didn't scratch across but one run. Second time through the order, felt like everybody hit him.
Right.
So that's same team, more experience.
It's a really encouraging sight here. Is if this Rhodes offense gets hot down the stretch, they are going to be a force to be reckoned with when they start SAA tournament play.
We've talked about it. We talked about it, I think, 3 or 4 times yesterday. But when the Lynx score at a high clip, they are hard to beat. 17-4 this year. When they score at least 5 runs, they've got 7 now, and we're only 3 frames in.
So John Montour only has to record 1 out, but he does have to deal with Ben Burkhardt, who's 2 for 2 today. Starts him with a breaking ball, gets the call, strike 1.
And just a finish on Montour, and ERA just south of 5, 4.97. Has won 3 games this year in 14 appearances. 17 punch-outs, 5 walks, so he's got good command in 29 innings of work.
0-1. Burkhardt off the barrel, deep center field. It's out of here. Over the batting cage in center field. 2-run shot for Ben Burkhardt.
110 miles an hour off the bat.
Oh, my goodness.
If that sign out there next to the batting cage is 395, that ball has to be at least 415, 420. I mean, 435 is the estimate.
435 for Ben Burkhardt.
Sizable.
3 for 3, by the way. His second hit of the inning as well. And now here's Ben Daniel. Low and away, 1-0. The Lynx have broken this game open in the bottom of the third. An 8-run frame. Daniel chops it foul into his own dugout. Count evens 1-1.
I got to say, I did not have it on my bingo card that you could check boxes today for both Kruger and for Burkhardt, who had really been scuffling to get big extra base hits.
Daniel, that's hit sharply. Oh, look what I found by E.J. Osley. Flings it across the diamond for the third out. But my goodness, an explosion of offense for the Rhodes College Lynx. They played 8 runs thanks to highlights by Miles Kruger with a 3 RBI double. And then right after, Ben Burkhardt, a 435-foot bomb to plate 2 more. 9-3, Rhodes College on top as we go to the top of the 4th.